The Clashing Conferences Podcast. Let's go.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Clashing Conferences podcast. We're here with the OGs, the original NFC East crew. We had a big week last week with two NFC division or NFC East teams moving on to the divisional round. We had the Eagles beating Green Bay 22-10, and we had the Commanders in an upset beating Tampa Bay 23-20. Other big news in the division this week: Randy's getting a new coach. McCarthy got fired, so that's some news to talk about this week. In our internal competition, we got a little confidence pool going, and Paul is winning that thing with 36 points. Randy and Greg both just behind
That's
at
right.
35 points apiece, 1 point back. And Chris at 27, but picked four of the teams as winners this week, which is more than Greg and Paul had, even though they have higher numbers than him. So Chris has got a lot of big numbers left to use, and even though he's in last, has just as good a chance at winning this thing as anybody else, based on what he's got left on the board to pick with.
Don't feed
Yeah,
us
well,
confidence.
unfortunately, like the Giants like to draft, it'll fall in suit with them, and he will stay in last.
It'll depend on my picks, obviously, right? I hear you.
That's fair, Paul. I liked your argument in the text thread that, Chris is going to have a harder time going forward to use those high numbers because you get games
it's gonna
like
be flip-flops.
Buffalo and Baltimore where it's you don't know who's going to win.
12-7 this week. I ain't going to have no problem using my next two high numbers.
I think we all know where he's going with the Buffalo game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, seriously. The confidence is high.
Did Daniel Jones get picked up by somebody again?
Yep. Just got traded to the Bills.
Okay, all right.
Really?
No.
I was going to say.
Why would I jump off my Super Bowl pick? I had to ride them all the way out, right?
Well, okay.
That's a quick week in review. I think Paul, big upset. Commander's still alive in the playoffs. You deserve a chance to lead off this week.
Well, big win, obviously a little unexpected. That's why I put that was a point I wanted to lose. That's why I did the one there with it. I was planning to lose that.
That's horse crap.
Yeah, it is.
I said it in the
That's a
thing
little
before. I said that was the
if you
game.
ask me.
Nope. I said I
can't believe I didn't pick up on that to give you more crap last week because
I put 1 point on the Bucks, hoping I would lose.
Confidence pool. Come on.
Hey, Mike, who was most confident in Washington last week?
That would be you, Randy.
That's me. That's right.
Definitely. But listen,
I am the best.
I said,
okay, well, you both shut up because I'm talking. This is our first win in 6,945 days. The last time we won a playoff game in 2000, like 6
How
or
many
9
days?
or 6.
It was six.
Almost 7,000 days.
Oh my God!
Welcome to being relevant.
Was that RG3 back then?
It had to be way before that.
No, it was before that.
So RG3 didn't win a playoff game.
That's like 20 years.
We went to the we went to the playoffs, but didn't win in the first round.
That definitely says a lot about Jaden Daniels.
Oh, who beat the last time you went to the playoffs?
I got no idea. I had no idea.
Tampa Bay, 17-0.
Who was your quarterback?
I don't know who the quarterback was.
Paul, do you know?
No, I have no clue.
I mean, it wasn't Donovan.
No.
Well, think about that. They had Donovan, who was their quarterback.
That would have it wouldn't have been McNabb.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Mark Rippon.
What?
Who wasn't?
No. That was 15 years before that. But it was a great win. Obviously a little dramatic with our OCD kicker there doinking it off in the at the very end. Obviously that's how you're really supposed to do the doink. It's supposed to go on the inside, not the outside, Mike, just in case you guys didn't know.
That's the double doink.
Yeah. I thought it was a great game. Jaden Daniels looked really good. He, the only thing I'm worried about, especially going against the Lions, is he's rushing a lot. I think he had 13 rushes or something like that, and
that's a leading rusher.
And there was one time that he got hit. It was it looked like a late hit out of bounds, and I mean he got absolutely rocked. So every time that happens, and he also got busted in the face early at the first. I mean, obviously that was nothing. It's like somehow helmet got turned around and got scratched under his orbital, but. confidence looked good. I mean, he stands in there in the pocket, and I do not mean like Sam Darnold did last night, where he literally stood there like Drew Bledsoe, just waiting to get rocked. He was in there and could feel the pressure and released when he needed to. He and Terry are clearly, Terry's clearly the leader on the team, and Jaden Daniels is, has so much respect, getting so much respect from everybody out there. So, screw it. I'm looking to win the whole damn thing. There's no need to wait for this year, for next year, or next couple of years. I want to win the whole damn thing. It's probably going to hurt after next week, and I don't mean because we might lose. It might physically hurt. I really just don't want anybody. I don't want any injuries to affect next year. There were a couple of players, like I think there was one of the best Packers linemen went out on a cart right at the end of the game. Those kind of injuries are going to suck. That's the only thing about the postseason that sucks. Is any kind of significant injury that puts you, depending on what it is, your next year in jeopardy.
Plus, you got that thing, you play the Lions and win or whatever the next week. Which Craig always said, you just got done playing the Lions. You're always going to the next game.
Beat up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hopefully not this week, but hopefully next week we'll be playing the Rams anyway. So I'm looking forward to that. But if you look at the stats and everything, I mean, for a while, the stats for Baker and Jaden were perfect and really were identical. And really the big turning point was Baker Mayfield's fumble. I mean, we didn't have any turnovers and we didn't punt in the game whatsoever. So what's going to be crazy is this game next week. So if we're doing that, because we went forward on fourth down quite a bit, we're playing Dan Campbell. So as long as it's not 4th and 12, he's freaking going for it. So, I mean, the punter you might just bring somebody else off the practice squad that you want to get as an emergency quarterback or a fullback or something else. Maybe an extra kicker in case
You
they get
guys
hurt.
had a 17-minute drive.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's
keep the
unbelievable.
ball.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You keep the ball on the ground and the short passes like that, and everybody stays in bounds, and no incomplete passes.
Hold on.
I mean, that's
17 minutes, more than one quarter. They wrapped up more than one whole quarter with one drive. That doesn't even seem possible.
I didn't think so.
You would think.
I didn't look that up. I'm just basing off what Randy said. I mean, I know that a lot of our drives like that because we also started a lot of our drives deep in our red zone. So, but Mike, you're right. I mean, a full quarter on the same drive is pretty ridiculous. It's got to be like the first or the third quarter because there'd be too many timeouts at the end of a half or the end of a game.
That's pretty sweet how that works when you're talking. Chris doesn't have a mic. He talks, but it doesn't come out.
I like this version.
Yeah, I'm fine with that too. It's weird. It's almost like I can get my points out and all that.
Yeah, it's like you weren't interrupted at all.
No, Chris, you were saying something and it cut out because Paul was talking and it just cut you out.
It'd be awesome if it just auto mutes him when I start talking.
Got it.
Yes.
Did it again.
What's the total time of possession in the game? Do you have it in front of you?
No, I don't.
I'm just
curious. If they had a 17-minute drive, what was their?
You know what?
Randy's lying.
It's a 17-play drive, not a 17-minute drive. Sorry.
That
Total time of possession
way
was
more
30,
sense.
Yes.
35 minutes to 24 minutes.
Yeah.
So still
discrepancy, but not,
like
it's not 45-15.
Yeah. No, it was impressive. I get it. It's crazy how really one major change in your team, which is Lattimore, but really Jaden Daniels.
Lattimore was having issues. You could see him on the sideline. I swear he was crying on the sideline because he could not figure out Mike Evans whatsoever. They have history upon history upon history. I mean, we're talking, what is it? Brian Finnegan against Andre Johnson kind of history. They've thrown down before. And
they've both been ejected before.
Yeah. Against each other. So, yeah, I mean, Marshawn Lattimore did not do all that well. He caught some penalties. Mike Evans obviously didn't blow up during the game, but I mean, he caught some big balls, but there were some penalties, a penalty in the end zone that set him up for one of their touchdowns because of Marshawn Lattimore. But
I mean, if that all doesn't give all you and me hope, Chris, I don't know what will.
Well, they also fill a lot of holes too. It's not like they did nothing. I mean, they got a new inside linebacker. They got
a new coach,
young D-line. Atufa, is that how you say the guy's name? He's a beast, man. That playing D-line and outside linebacker. The kid's nasty. OC, new head coach. So they filled the gaps. Like Dallas just felt like they didn't need to get anything last year.
Including, and this year they feel like they don't have to get a head coach. You don't need one.
You got to remember too, one of the reasons we didn't do anything is because we had to pay Dak Prescott $60 million a year. I mean, you have issues.
You were chrising the whole thing up saying that it's fine. We don't need to. We got all the best players, all the best players we need. And obviously that was wrong. And you needed to do something.
Looking back, yes, you're right.
I mean, the funny trade scenarios I see for the Cowboys in the offseason is ridiculous. Like getting rid of Dak for like a first-round pick or Micah for Mike Tomlin and like all these like crazy things.
I don't want Mike Tomlin.
I wouldn't.
Yeah. But, dude, how pissed are you if you were a Steelers fan right now? You guys just had another season where you lost the first round to your biggest rival, and it wasn't even close.
No, I agree. They got to be fuming right now. What's that? 6 consecutive years of one and done.
Yep, and every year it's like Baltimore is there every year.
So since we're talking about Mike Tomlin, here's a timeline of things that's happened since Mike Tomlin last won a playoff game. So Dan Quinn took the Falcons to the Super Bowl. He was then fired by the Falcons. He spent 3 years with the Cowboys, got hired from the Commanders, and took us to the playoffs and won a playoff game all since his last one. So, I mean, it's been quite a ways.
Well, that's because they're in that QB situation where they're good enough to make the playoffs, but not good enough to beat the.
It's like having Kirk Cousins every year except for this year.
And unfortunately, you're not good enough to get a decent draft pick either.
Right, because they're making the playoffs. Right,
you're making the playoffs.
Well, their draft picks have been pretty.
You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they missed big time on Kenny Pickett. You know, that could have been a turning point if you had picked the right quarterback at that time. But I mean, they're getting crushed on some of their draft picks, like Chase Claypool and some other idiots out there.
What pick did they take?
Pickens has turned into a joke too.
Deontay Johnson. I mean, that was another big pick they had. Yep. They used to be like a wide receiver making machine team. Every other year they were trading away another top wide receiver. Now they can't get one to save their lives. I can't even
remember the guy Wallace they had. Wallace.
Mike Wallace, Sanders.
He was good. Where did they take Pickett at? Where did he get drafted at? What pick was that?
I think it was Pickett. I was really high.
I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Pretty significant pick on that.
Yeah, but they were in the playoffs, right? Or did they miss the playoffs that year?
No, Pickett's he's not more than 6 years. You know, they were in the playoffs that year. They probably drafted him.
Why don't we slide back into the NFC East for a little while? We had another big game, another big win by the Eagles this weekend. Why don't we talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, there was rust, obviously, offensively. You know, we came out and we were physical. And, you know, first play of the game, we got a turnover. Just being physical and trying to beat them up, and that's what we did.
You definitely beat them up.
We ran the ball.
You said last week that the Eagles were going to win by 10. You didn't care who the quarterback was. The O-line was going to run all over them.
Yeah, and that's what they did. And you can him and haul and shake whatever way you want to shake, Chris. You know, facts are facts. We didn't play great, and we still won by 10.
And the score could have been a lot worse.
It could have been a lot worse.
Saquon didn't take the knee right there.
I mean,
and I'll tell you one thing. I don't want to go too far into this before I can get this out. I refuse to believe that A.J. Brown can read. I think that book was upside down. I don't want to hear it. I don't think he can
Sirianni said he's been reading it all year.
That was the dumbest looking all year.
Yeah, well, they're picture books and they pop up as things. No, he is dumber than a bag of hammers. I don't want to.
This is why I love about everybody, and you guys just hate on Philadelphia so much, and it's just beautiful, and I love it. I love the anger.
We love it when you lose.
It's the city of brotherly love. Of course, you guys are so loving and accepting of other humans.
Your boy in Detroit is an awesome coach because he goes for it on fourth down. Sirianni does it, and he's like, "Oh, he's an idiot." Well, he can't coach. He's not a good coach. Newsflash: he's like the winning coach.
He is.
Right.
So it's like,
but you were
You're getting all
you
upset.
were
You're turning into Randy. You can't even get the words out. It's awesome.
Greg, you were complaining as much about Sirianni going for a fourth down as we were earlier on this year.
well, when
You were? He
yes,
was.
I was. I want them to run the ball. Our strengths are our offense and our defensive line.
Sure.
And I want to
I thought
be
you
in
were
the
about to
trenches.
say offense and defense, and I was like, good job.
No. You know, I think
I don't know.
we've grown tremendously in our back half of our defense. Our linebackers are absolutely amazing this year. You know, and as long as Jalen doesn't make mistakes, which he really hasn't since the bye week, we're going to beat those teams. We're going to beat teams. We beat Baltimore. You know, we're going to get those wins because if we don't turn the ball over, we are just bigger and stronger than you. Hence, the last time we played the Rams. Now, I'm going to tell you this. The Rams have gotten better since the last time we played them.
Healthier.
And we've gotten better as well. So I'll talk about it the second half. I'm really excited about this game. But going back to our game Sunday, I think, you know, injuries did play a part in it.
Who
I'm
did
not
you
going to sit
lose?
here.
Who
Lost
did you lose?
Nakobe Dean.
Nakobe
We
Dean.
lost Dean. I'm saying more on the Packers side.
They lost all
they
three
lost
of their
everybody.
receivers.
It did, and it played
And
a
they
part
started
in the
the game without their leading receiver.
So I'm not going to sit here and
Even
say
the guy
that
with the Guardian cap on.
Yeah.
Literally
Turned the
bonked
ball
his
over
head and
four.
had to get
Didn't they
out.
turn the ball over 4 times? It was a
4
fumble,
times.
3
Dude,
interceptions.
it's just
Hey, you should have
unreal.
scored 40 or 50 on them.
It's unreal.
Yeah, Greg, you
Saquon,
guys suck.
I mean,
Yeah, this is what I'm talking
I
about.
feel like if they would have played anybody else, they would have lost.
No, but my point is,
You would
you
have played
guys,
Watson, you would have lost.
you guys say all this stuff, but it's but you don't give credit to the defense who made those turnovers, or you
Well,
don't
here's the
say
thing.
Jordan Love had a bad game.
I will
it's
say that,
always
'cause-
the Eagles
No.
suck because they
I said
didn't
that-
win by more.
I mean, Greg,
I don't like
again-
admitting it to him, but I did say it at work today. I said,
we
look,
could have won by 20, but we
both games you played, like he played like crap
Don't
week
start
1
talking
as well.
about your work.
Greg, you
I'm just saying.
yes, you won a lot again. You guys have 3 Green Bay receivers out. Saquon Barkley runs for 119 yards. You guys stars all over your team. 4 turnovers. Green Bay missed a field goal.
I
And
think you're
literally
making
the
his.
fourth
I think
quarter.
you're making his point, Randy.
Right.
But listen, in the fourth quarter, you're
No,
up
there's other
16-10. I mean, that game very easily, one of those turnovers not happening,
Listen.
would have very easily been lopsided. Like, again, I feel like you're in a spot where you weren't putting, I mean, you put them away right at the end when they basically threw a throw-up pick to no receiver because they don't have any. But you very easily could have lost that game. Should have
No.
almost
The
lost
first play
that
of the
game.
game, I feel like that should have been
You were
Packers ball.
2 for 13 on third down. I mean, it was an awful
agree.
play.
I feel like
I
the first
agree.
play of the game, that should have been Packers ball. And even at the end of the
Why?
game when they were dropped, because the dude fell on the ball and they fell on top of him.
Greg,
They could have caught him down
I'll-
by contact right there.
I'll
How
give
about
you
the end
your
of the
de-
game? How about the
I'll-
pass interference
no,
on the last
And I'll
drive?
give you your defense played incredible. I
This
agree
is why I
with
love
that. But your offense played horrendous.
I know.
Did
dude.
you have this on your
So
bingo
Jalen-
card when you woke up this morning, Greg?
No,
Jalen had what, like
Jalen-
131 yards? Yeah, like
so
100.
having a rating of 111 with 2 touchdowns isn't a good game.
I don't think anyone would say 131 yards is a good game for a quarterback.
I'm not saying it's a great
Quarterback.
game. I'm saying
If
he
that's
wins
all
the
your
games.
team needs you to do to win,
That's all
then
he had to
that's
do,
all that
Randy.
matters.
And that's
I
why we're
guess.
saying if you would have played somebody better and a little healthier, I think you would have
Last
lost.
week, you guys all said that we were going to
Dude,
get beat by the
Green Bay
Packers.
had 86
Look, I didn't have a lot
penalty
of confidence
yards.
in you. I had you at like 3 or 2.
And I hope you have no
settled.
confidence in us next week. That's what we love. We thrive on this. This is why I love
I
being
know.
an Eagles fan.
We love it. And then
Because
we love
it's
it too. 'cause
all
when you finally
year,
lose,
every
we laugh
year.
at you.
By the way,
Well,
I
then
picked you
that's
as an 11. I put 11 on you, just letting you know.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate
This
that.
week,
Yep, below me.
Last week.
LA needs a win, man. They're going through some tough
Well, and
times
then-
right now. All
and
the
here we
fires.
go.
LA,
Now
Next,
LA's going
next
to
LA
half.
gotta
because
get
of
a
the
Next
win,
half.
fires.
baby.
Next
LA
half.
gotta
We're
get a
talking
win,
about this
baby.
week.
They're going to be on fire because if they play the way they played this week, and you play the way you played
So,
last week, you're
again,
going to lose.
This is
just
where
telling
my
you.
confidence boost comes into you. Listen, you pick what you want to pick. I'm just telling you facts are facts. Now that we've played a game together, we haven't practiced in 4 weeks
We're
together.
talking about practice.
AJ hasn't practiced. Devontae hasn't practiced.
talking
No, it's
about
because
practice.
AJ's stuck in his books. He's on book
Yeah.
1 already. For
Listen,
He's on page
2025.
4.
Do you guys
Do
like assault other receivers for praying, for like meditating?
No,
like,
but you guys assaulted him for catching a ball.
Yeah.
I've never seen. It was a bloodshed.
Tell me you
Look,
guys
if Tim
saw that this
Tebow-
book is #1 on Amazon's
Yeah.
book
Yeah,
I've
seller.
seen it.
Just
Yeah, I've
so-
seen it.
some
All
How
Philly
many
fans
Philly
were-
fans went out and were like, "I'm going to get
All
this
of them.
self-help
All
book
of
because
them.
AJ Brown's reading it"? Like, who the
That's what
hell
they do.
went
And they
out
can't
and was
even
like,
read.
"I got to read this book"?
And
The
they can't
funny
even
thing
read.
was, the guy was like, "Oh, I think I was on the list at like 8 or 9,000 or whatever. Mine wasn't on the list." No, it was like 500 and some thousandth on the list, and it went right to number one
That
in 2
Yeah.
days.
that author
crazy.
is like making so much
Thank
more
you,
money
AJ.
right now. He's excited as hell that AJ Brown blew him
There's a
up.
new Eagles fan out there
He
somewhere.
better be wearing a jersey this week.
It
Yep.
better be. And that's the thing. It's the whole national pundit, the whole national media, like, and they attack obviously AJ
I don't
for
think the
reading the
national
book.
media called that lady, that nice, sweet lady,
Oh,
those
here we go.
mean
Here we,
names.
listen,
Yeah, that was crazy.
and what did I say? We
Low
need to
blow.
ban that guy forever. And he's
You're like
banned
the
now.
only Eagles fan that would probably say that, though. Most of the rest of them
No,
are out
that
there
is
like,
not
"Yeah, he's
true.
right, he's right, he's
Dude,
right."
we were passing around the picture because he actually was a couple sections over from us. We're like, does anybody know this? We're all sending it out. We're trying to figure it out. What he said was a scumbag move. I would not have said that. And I would say 90% of fans wouldn't have said that.
Oh, Steven,
Well,
put some
because
of his
if you're too
girlfriends
busy hitting,
on
If
Instagram.
somebody would have hit her in the
Get
eye
that
with a
guy.
battery
Yeah, it's
or a
true.
sack of quarters,
It's
they would have taken their
Oh,
sock
is it
off
true,
and put
Randy?
quarters
We'll
in,
throw a
beat her over the
snowball
head
out
with
or
it.
two. And you bring up something from 1958.
68.
Oh, you go through snowballs at Santa?
Well,
and I've
I'm
I'm
talked
just
about
saying,
real
it's a
kids.
history. It's a history
Why
of
you
bad
hate bringing up the
behavior.
past, Greg? Is it because we have more Super Bowls than you? Is that
And
why
what
you hate
happened to
bringing the
dollar hot
past up?
dogs at the Phillies game? I thought you guys had dollar hot dogs. What happened?
No,
But
believe me,
throw
they did
those
not
around
have
like
dollar.
the paper airplanes.
Yeah, that's what happened. So, yeah, Mike, thank you. I'm very excited about the Eagles. And I'll tell you what, there were some good games this weekend. I'm going to give Daniels his credit. Daniels looked amazing. Jaden looked great. And he is a really good young quarterback.
Absolutely.
Looking at the company that he was in for that only rookie quarterbacks to win a playoff game, though.
Last 3 years,
Yeah.
right? It's like Shroud, him, Purdy, right?
Yeah, somebody else, too. I forget who it was.
And he's the
Definitely
only,
Brock Purdy.
and there's only 3 times that there's ever been a rookie quarterback win when there were no turnovers and 0 punts. 3 times.
That's how you got started the season.
Well,
You're finally getting back into that.
He had all 3 this year. One was this
he
Sunday,
did.
but he had all 3.
And the other games were good too. I mean, I did not see the Texans coming on like that, and I think none of us did. And I think Rex Ryan screwed us on that one, talking about it's going to be a bye week for the Chargers. And I'm like, man, you can't make statements like that.
Rex Ryan's such an idiot. I cannot stand him.
And trying to get a job on top of that, like, I don't know, drives me nuts.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I would say that Sam Darnold cost himself about $100 million yesterday.
yeah.
I think you could have gotten away against with playing bad against the Lions.
Yeah, they don't need to
Last
pay him.
night-
They got DJ sitting
No, they're
there.
not. They're
Come
not
on,
going.
man.
Stop. You're an idiot. Just go take another.
Why?
Yeah.
JJ might be coming to us. I don't know. I've
No.
been seeing that rumor flying around left and right.
The best
I
was
don't
when
want
they were
that.
showing him warm up last night. DJ, and I almost texted you guys, but I didn't. And he
Thank you.
he says, "Looks like you're still underthrowing people." The receiver had to stop, reach back to catch the ball.
Oh
It's
my
like,
god!
dude, you're warming up. Come on, throw
You
good
guys
passes.
are ridiculous.
He's horrible.
Talk about hating, man.
No, I spit truth.
Jeez.
Facts
But I
are
think
facts,
Sam
buddy.
Darnold, if he played good
guys
last
just
night, he
can't
was
help but
possibly
bring
looking
him
at
up.
a $30 million a year payday, and I think it got cut in half.
I
It'll
agree.
be interesting to definitely see where they go. And I know, Randy, talk about your stuff
We
with
might
the
be able to
Cowboys.
afford him now.
Because
Yeah.
I want to bring it up. I need to know how you feel about this.
I mean,
think it's
Do you
just
want the
absolutely-
optimist or the true
no. I want to
opinions?
know how you feel because
So-
I think it's a circus
Give us your
down there.
version
And
and then the Chris version.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I'll give you
Yeah.
I'll give you the real version first, and I'll put a good spin on it. I mean, I think Mike McCarthy's a good coach. I think that, to be honest, the team situation was not good this
He
year.
is a
The
good
players,
Yeah,
I
he's
think
always been a good coach.
I
He's a
think
great
the
coach at
team's-
Packers, too.
I think so. I think the team
Trey would beg to
situation.
differ, and I agree with him. I think he sucks.
Well, he can differ all he wants. He won the Green Bay a Super Bowl, so I
One.
mean,
with was arguably one of the best quarterbacks
I think
ever played.
anyone out there would say that's a success. Anybody out there, any fan base would love a coach that
But
gives
you don't
them
want
Did
Eli
you-
to go to the Hall of Fame.
Time out. Did you really just say Aaron Rodgers was one of the best quarterbacks ever to play the game?
Yeah, look at his stats. He's killed it. He's had a hell of a career.
I mean,
Other
you
than
think
the
Josh
fact-
Allen?
other
Do
than-
you have
other
Josh
than the
Allen
fact that
were
he
never
hasn't-
born?
he only won one Super Bowl.
Hold on. What would you rather have, Aaron Rodgers or Daniel Jones? That's the question.
Hey, look at Aaron Rodgers.
I'm kidding.
Body
It's not a
of
question.
work,
No one
his
even
career,
cares.
It's been
God,
great.
we just
Aaron
said he's
Rodgers
gonna get
is
out the
good.
whiteboard and
He's-
show all
He's
the
been a
should have
top
had-
10.
he
He's
should
been a
have had
top
more
10
Super
every
Bowls,
year.
though. He should have
Aaron
had more.
Rodgers is not Tom Brady. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not even Brett Favre, but he's a good quarterback.
I
But
think he's
still,
good. I
Mike
agree with that.
McCarthy won a playoff game with that team, and they have not won since he's gone. Trey can talk all the crap he wants, but it's freaking bull crap. They have not
What do you
won.
mean they haven't won? They beat you last year in the
They have
playoffs
not
on the
won
road.
the Super Bowl since then. He won one Super Bowl with Mike McCarthy, so you can talk all the crap you want. Facts are facts. Mike McCarthy did well with the Cowboys last year. This team, with what we would all say is not a great roster, has not done well, and I don't think it's a great idea that we cut him with this roster. But unfortunately, I don't know if next year is going to be any better. I don't know. We don't know what next year has in store, and I don't know if Mike McCarthy would last through another 6-11 year.
So let me ask you a
That's-
quick question. His
What?
contract ran out on the 14th, which is today.
Today.
By the way, that was
Yeah.
before any playoff run would have
Now, what would have
ended. By
happened if
the
you would have
way,
been? Now, what would have happened if you would have been in the playoffs? Would you would
Oh,
have had?
I'm sure they would have kept him. If he would have made
They
the
would've-
playoffs and won a game or something, I'm sure they would have kept him.
No, I'm just asking. Would they have extended him while you were in the playoffs, or would that
Oh, I'm
just-
sure. I'm sure.
yes,
All right.
I'm sure.
just-
Yeah. You're not going to cut a coach
quarter.
while you're in the playoffs. You're not going to do it. No one would even imagine to do that. Probably.
All right.
So,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's still
I mean,
funny that the contract did end on January 14th as
That's
opposed to
strange.
like February 2nd, February 9th, maybe February 10th if you want to.
No. We want to make a decision quick. No, I mean, my good spin on it, there are some cool names I've been hearing. And again, we'll
And
see.
you missed out on the best ones talking to him.
I don't know. I
Yep.
don't know. The one I heard, I really like. I
Deion
really like.
Sanders.
Nope. Don't like that one. Jason Garrett coming back. I actually love that idea.
I've seen that
I'm a
too,
big-
Randy.
I'm a big Garrett fan. I've always been one.
Why?
He just has a flair.
The
I-
clapper.
You know what? Honestly, he reminds me a little bit of the play style.
Flair.
The play style of maybe a Nick Sirianni, where he takes a little more of a gamble. He's a little more of a deep shot, a little more fling off his shoulders. Mike McCarthy just seemed a little conservative, a little reserved. He played just a little more conservatively than I liked for a coach, to be honest.
So I was going to say, I heard a name today and it made me laugh. And I'm curious to see what the Cowboys fans think about this. I heard the name Jason Witten. And I laughed because I'm
I didn't
like,
hear that.
he's never coached before.
Yeah,
Anything,
I mean,
right?
I love Jason Witten, but unfortunately, again, we still are under this one big thing, which is Jerry Jones runs everything, and you run what Jerry Jones built. And I don't know. That's going to be a struggle. Right now, Jerry Jones has built something that is a house of cards, and I'm not so sure. I don't know. I mean, the one good takeaway I have for the year is throughout this bad year, this terrible year we've had, the locker room never fell apart. We never had a Philadelphia incident. The locker room has stayed solid.
There we go.
That's because
There's
they're all
been-
in the hospital. They're not even in the locker room.
Yeah, this isn't Green Bay, Paul. I mean, no, we weren't all in a hospital. Overshawn, a few other ones. No, it was
Dak.
a pretty.
Mike
Dak,
was
I mean, true.
Micah Parsons was in there. I mean, the
Yeah,
best players were.
Yeah,
not
you're
there.
right.
CD.
I guess, but
Well-
again, again, like you see a lot of locker rooms, especially in Philadelphia, fall apart when your team starts to lose like that.
We
And
fell apart
Dallas didn't.
one year.
You fell apart
Yeah.
this year.
When?
Dude, right before
Nah.
right before the break, you guys were like, they were like,
We were
Jalen
2-2.
Hurts and AJ Brown was ready to kill you. That's my point. We were 6-11, and we didn't have that breakup like day after you break up with your girlfriend argument.
Are you congratulating yourselves for how you took going 6-11? I'm just trying. Okay.
Yes,
I think
yes,
so.
I am.
Well,
Just
you can
like-
take that participation trophy all the way and put that right next to your championship from
All right,
30 years
all
ago.
right.
I hope
Before you
Carson
were even a
comes to the
fan.
Eagles game this weekend. Cheer on Barkley.
So, Chris, what about you?
Hold on, real quick before we move on from Mike McCarthy talk. And I never picked up on this until the impassioned backing of Mike McCarthy by Randy, but I need you guys to weigh in on this revelation I just had. Tell me Randy doesn't look like Mike McCarthy. He could
Oh,
win a Mike
stop.
McCarthy lookalike
Stop.
contest.
Stop.
Yes or
Stop.
no?
I like it. He does.
No,
A lot.
I kind of see it. I kind of see it.
Wouldn't that be great if I found out he was my long lost dad?
All
I
right,
guess
Chris.
he's probably my age.
You got
I
points
don't
for
really
us?
have anything. I don't really have much.
All right,
The one
halftime
thing
it is.
the one thing I wanted to say is I seen Barkley do that a million times as a Giant, like do the right thing, take the slide and everything. I kind of wish he would have took that one to the house, because wasn't it like a play or two before that when they got the penalty on him and
Yep.
yeah,
It was.
Look at you
I
coming
think
full circle from I hope he gets injured and doesn't make it to the end of the
I
year.
felt
I
like-
wish he scored more touchdowns.
I know.
that
I think it's
particular
because he's a
time.
little inhibited, and I think that was clouding his judgment.
Who me? Oh, stop. I thought you meant Barkley. But anyway, I think he should have scored there. And then as for the Eagles game, I kind of wanted to make a few points. I don't know if that's when the mic was messing up.
No, it's cutting out now.
Yeah, But
It
when
was,
Randy was
actually.
talking, was it?
Keep
Yeah.
But
going.
when Randy was
Jerk.
Randy was talking, I was thinking like first play of the game. I don't know how you guys feel. I think that should have been.
It was
I
a
think
fumble.
that's-
Clear as day.
Dude, they landed right on it then, and then they fell on top of him. They took it away from him after the fact. But when
The
you're
ball-
down by
I
contact, you're
think,
down
like,
by
even
contact.
from the view from the top, nobody was on him yet, and he was laying on his back, and he had it. And then he lost it because he was just like, wasn't really protecting it. But he was laying on his back, and he had the ball right there.
Down,
And then he
yeah,
just
he's
let it
down.
go.
And then, like, at the end of the game, like, they could have scored. I mean, I thought there was a pass interference call on that last drive. I mean, that game was a lot. I mean, it could have went either way. You could have blown them out. You probably should have blown them out. But then
I
again,
look like Mike
they
McCarthy.
missed a field goal. You
Unreal.
look like him. But they
Unreal.
missed a field goal, and they had some other opportunities, and they had a lot of guys out. I felt like I do believe when you'll find this out in the second half. I think if the Rams play the way they played last week, and you play the way you play, you're going to lose this week.
How'd
That's
the
my
Giants
opinion.
do this weekend?
Well,
Wow, they're not playing. It's
Oh,
over.
Just
It's
checking.
been over. It's been over for a long time. I'm
Since week
carefree
3.
and relaxed, and I'm waiting for next year. I'm good.
Maybe you and neighbors can come to Washington at Detroit. That way you guys can cheer on your new favorite teams.
That's not Paul. You nailed it right on the head. It had nothing to do with that. He was supporting his buddy. I thought it was cool. Plus, it was the fact it was his first ever game, and he had a good year as a rookie. They
And he's
both
not
were
going to
rookies.
get to the playoffs otherwise, so, I mean,
And
might
they-
as well get a field ticket.
He might get there a lot sooner than you think. And kudos to Neighbors being one of the top quarterbacks in the league with that mess this year.
Maybe if
running
he's a
back.
Cowboy.
Yeah, receiver. Well, I did see this one thing. If we better get him a quarterback, or he might end up in Washington.
He might.
Oh,
Yeah, there's
there,
definitely
man.
going to
I
be some
think
collusion.
that's enough dumb shit from Chris there in the first half. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll get our predictions for the confidence pool, and we'll start looking
Thanks,
forward
Mike.
to the
What
divisional
the hell is
rounds.
that?
Hey, the producer told me to land a plane. I gotta do what I gotta do.
Gave him the cut
Hey
sign.
everyone, thanks for listening. Just a few quick reminders for everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Michael Jordan is the GOAT. And check out our fellow podcaster, Jim Montgomery, with This Day in Philly Sports History. Thank you.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the second half of Clashing Conferences podcast. Real quick, I'm going to give our normal plug, the clashingconferences.com. Jump on there, join Patreon. I'm looking for somebody to come take my spot on the college podcast right now. So it's that easy. You can get on there. You can join tonight. You can be part of the network, and you'll be on a show in a week or two. We'll get you my spot on the college show. So in the internal competition, I went through the scores real quick. We had Paul at 36, Randy and Greg at 35, Chris at 27. We're going to pick here again in just a second. Give you a quick rundown of the games. We got Houston at Kansas City. We got Washington at Detroit. That's a division game for us. Washington's a 9.5 point underdog, but they've been shocking the world all year. So see if they can do it one more time. You got the Rams going to Philadelphia. The Rams are getting 6.5 points. Philly's a good size favorite there. And the last game of the week, we got Baltimore favored by 1.5 going to Buffalo. So, Chris, you are, as we talked about in last, but still looking pretty good, in my opinion, with what you got left. What do you got for your picks this week?
This week I'm gonna start with the Kansas City game. I'm gonna use my last high pick. I'm very confident in them. Houston did play well last week, but Mahomes is ready. It's Mahomes time, like Randy would say. I'm gonna take KC with 12. I'm gonna slide over to Detroit and Washington. I do like Washington, man. I like Daniels, and I like this. It was a fun year watching them. I don't think they're going to shock the world and beat Detroit. That's where my 11 is going to go. I'm going to take the Detroit Lions in 11.
Yikes.
I'm going to slide over to Baltimore and Buffalo. What's the yikes for?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, what are they? 9.5-point favorites? You just said.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big spread, man.
That's a very big spread for a playoff game.
You go from loving them to hating them.
I never hated
like
them. Even last week, I gave them a 1. I mean, at least
last
I wasn't
year
Paul.
you hated them pretty bad.
I didn't hate them. I just didn't.
You did.
You did. Last year you hated them.
Well, I didn't think they were that good, and you were loving them. You acted like they were like up and coming, and they weren't, and that's why they got a quarterback. That's why
they are up and coming.
They up and came.
Because they sucked last year, like I said they were going to do, and they drafted a quarterback, and it changed them, and they're doing good. So anyway, I'm gonna go to the Rams. I'm gonna go to the Baltimore. I'm gonna go to the Baltimore and Buffalo game. This is a good game, man, but I'm gonna ride with Buffalo. Of course, I'm gonna ride with Buffalo. Why wouldn't I? I picked them to win the Super Bowl. But it's going to be a good game, and I think it's going to determine who wins the MVP. I mean, whoever wins this game, that's who they pretty much give the MVP to, right?
I have one thing to say about that, because I think the stats say Lamar Jackson, but you know what? There's 9 Pro Bowlers on the Ravens. There are 2 on the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
The Bills without Josh Allen don't win a game. The
100%.
Ravens without Lamar Jackson can still compete a little bit. I'm not saying they're going to the Super Bowl. But,
Lamar is playing great. He had a fantastic year.
So, I mean, but that's the thing. It's an MVP. It's not most outstanding player like it is in like college basketball. It's MVP. Who's the most valuable player to a team? That is Josh Allen. It's not
absolutely.
Who's offense. I mean, I think it's already leaning towards Lamjack, because they already gave him whatever the award is for the offensive player of the year. So they're already kind of setting the stage for it, that he's going to win that. But he's not technically the MVP. I'd say he's the most outstanding and best offensive player, but I don't think that he's the most valuable player to his specific team. And that is actually something, that's a hill I'd be willing to die on between those two this year.
I mean, it's a great take. I didn't even think of it that way, and I do agree with you. But I think it's going to come down to the game anyway. I mean, if Baltimore beats them with all the accolades and as good as he played this year, you almost have to give it to him, right?
Well, I think
and if Josh Allen does beat him, they are. I mean, and aren't they the only ones
they're sick of giving it to Lamar and him not winning the Super Bowl?
Could be wrong, but I thought that the votes were already.
I thought it's already over. It should have already been over.
I think those votes are submitted before the playoffs start, so that people are not influenced by the playoff games when they're choosing their regular season MVP. Yes. I could be wrong, but that's the way I've always understood it to be.
Gotcha.
I mean, it makes sense that way.
Yeah, let Chris keep going so we don't run out of time here. What's your number on Buffalo?
I'm going to take Buffalo, and it ain't because it's going to be a good game. I'd be stupid to put a huge number on it. I'm going to give them a 5. I'm going to give them a 5 on there. And I'm rolling with the Rams. That's why I got my NY yellow. I got my yellow and blue. Rams looked good last week. I said it in the first.
No yellow.
It's faint. It
looks like lime green.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a little off. It don't matter.
Burn the
Seattle colors.
It's not eagle green, so that's all that matters. So I'm gonna go with the Rams, man. Rams were hot last night.
Put it on 9.
And I'm gonna put it on 2. I'm not.
Come on.
I'm not dumb. I have a little bit of a strategy here. So there you go. Those are my picks.
All right, Greg, you get to refute right away on this. You're up next.
Okay.
Went 3-3 last week, buddy. Remember that?
So did I.
No, I said you did.
Yeah, Chris went 4-2.
Sorry.
I went 4-2, buddy.
4-2.
The only game that you actually have to, have some skill, as Randy would say.
No, I disagree.
All right. We disagree a lot. But
Randy also went 4-2, so his skill level was up there as well. Apparently,
solid. Yeah, no.
And Mike still likes my chances, so I did something right.
Listen,
All right, Lewis, come on.
All right, I'm gonna go with Kansas City with an 11. That's going to be my first pick of the week. I am going to take the Ravens with an 8.
Wow.
Wow.
All
Yeah,
Whoa.
I'm trying to jump out. I think it's the Ravens' year.
Greg's like,
In
I'm gonna
the
catch up this week.
I am going to catch up this week. I'm also going to take Detroit with a 5. And then that leaves me with the Eagles and the Rams. So I look at it this way. We beat them by double digits in the beginning of the year, and we've only gotten better, and they've gotten better as well. They're on a short week. They are flew from LA to Phoenix. From Phoenix, they don't know what they're doing yet. They may fly back to LA. They may stay in Phoenix, but they're going to travel across country to Philly on a short week and play a 3:00 game filled with 70-some thousand drunk people in 32-degree
That are
weather.
really
calling
mean.
each other the C word.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Birds at a 9. Eagles are with a 9.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah,
confident.
LA's playing with a
game.
heavy heart, man.
They are, and obviously my heart, and I
they're
think
gonna ride that wave.
I
Yeah, they're on
can speak for
fire.
all of us out here. You know,
I knew that was coming.
do feel horrible for everything that's going out there, and if you have the ability to donate, do what you can to help everyone out there. It's horrible, but I mean, at the end of the day, I think they're out of gas. They haven't been on the East Coast in over a month. They're traveling a lot. They got a lot of they got a lot going on in their lives. But when our O-line outweighs their D-line by 75 to 100 plus pounds per person, and we are beating on you by the fourth quarter when it's 32 degrees and it starts raining or snowing, whatever it's going to do, it's a wrap.
It's actually the Philly fans spitting on them, actually.
Must be that too.
I'm
Who knows?
falling asleep.
I hope you're not gone this week, Greg, in those conditions.
I am going.
Oh,
It's going to
no.
be cold. I got sick last weekend, and I had to sell my ticket, and I was heartbroken.
Oh, you didn't go to the game?
sucks.
You didn't go to the game?
No, I had no lines and sat in my chair and watched
He
it.
says he was actually up in a stadium calling a girl a C word.
No, it was not me. We found that guy, kicked him out. Oh, by the way, you know what the coolest thing about all
I
that
thought
was?
you said you were there. I thought you said you were trying to get the.
No,
You
we were sending pictures through through the group messages trying to find out who it was. Dom actually found him. So not only did they kick the suspend the guy, he's never allowed back in the stadium again, but they're also sending that girl. They're sending her a whole bunch
That
of
was
signed
pretty
Packer
cool.
stuff.
Yeah.
Her
So
and the
it's
guy she was with.
What
Both
was
of
that?
them. They're
Oh,
sending
yeah.
to both her
So,
and the
like,
guy.
Listen, enough with the whole scumbag talk. You know, we're actually really nice people, most of us. There are
Just that
some
one
a-holes
guy.
out there. No, there's a bunch of a-holes out there that
There's a
ruin it for
couple in
all.
every stadium every week, though.
Yeah, exactly. So they're my picks. That's what I'm going with.
All right, Randy, you're up next. You got the same score as Greg, but you also went 4-2 last week. You're up there with Chris on the skill level.
So yeah, I'm gonna pick the two NFC East games first. Greg, you said your players outweigh them 75 pounds each
About that.
on the offensive line.
It's Randy Chen each.
That sounds like a lot of speed for the Rams coming off of that. I hear you. Dallas
A lot of
always
speed.
for years. Dallas had a big line and they got beat a lot in speed. That also means your guys get tired quicker.
Talk about their quarterback.
Hungry dogs
I'm going to pick
run
one
fast.
of these NFC East teams to win,
Good. Pick Washington.
and it's not going to be Washington. I'm taking the Eagles at 4, and I'm taking Detroit at 10. You are
10.
not that good. You will not beat Detroit. There's no way. I think Detroit owns you. The Chiefs, I'm taking at 12, and the Ravens, I'm taking at 1.
I'm disappointed you didn't call the Chiefs Kansas.
Yes, I'm upset by that too.
I can switch it back. Just blop that
No,
out.
just
Kansas,
just
we're
make a
taking
note
at 12.
for next week. You have to always
Eventually, they're
refer to the
eventually they're
Chiefs
going to
as
move the stadium
Kansas.
to Kansas.
And you took the Ravens with 1? Is that what you said?
Yes.
All right, let me write this down. So Randy took Ravens at 1.
Took Kansas City at 12, Detroit
Kansas
at 10,
City.
and Philly at
Eagles at
4.
4. Yeah, I kind of went a little bit against the grain with my Eagles pick. I'd love to pick against them, but I just don't think the Rams have a lot of, like you said, gas. And we've seen that the Eagles are willing to destroy the entire offense of the other team to win a games.
Well, I guess that leaves us with the man with the strategy that he
Uh-oh.
wanted nobody to steal, and he got to choose as the leader to go last this week. So he once again can make sure that nobody is stealing his strategy. What do you got for
He
us,
went
Paul?
3-3 last week, right,
Yeah,
Paul?
Well,
Yes.
Strategy.
somehow
Pretty piss poor.
Randy still stole my strategy because my picks are almost the exact same as his.
There you
Okay.
go.
So I got the Chiefs at 10. I got the Lions at 9. The heart is at a 0. I want the Redskins to win, but heads at a 9 for the Lions. Ravens at a 3, which I gladly would lose that one because I do not want to see the Ravens win the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think the Eagles are going to win, but I'm going to only put it at a 4.
That's where I got it. That's very close.
Mhm.
Well, I got good news for you, Randy. If the all those picks go your way this week, you will be no longer
The
behind
lead
Paul.
dog. Nope.
So
I don't
I
like
think
it.
I think it's actually 1 point you'd be ahead of him by. But that is it for our competition. Anybody got any closing thoughts or arguments before we get out of here that you need to get out of you? Chris, you got all
I
your
do.
points out?
I
I'm
wanna
good,
s-
buddy. Go Rams.
I want to say one thing real quick, and this is kind of like a congratulations to a fellow podcaster, our family member, and someone who's been on the show a lot.
Oh, yeah, Jimbo.
I want to, give out, shout out to Jimbo. Jim at Jimbo_Mont won KYW Eagles Fan of the Year.
That was really cool.
Nice.
I read that
Really good
article. That was great.
Yeah, really good
Cameo
article.
with the family and all that.
Yeah, he started going to season tickets when we were younger. He was at Temple, and him and a lot of his fraternity brothers. I'm now part of the group. All have season tickets. 12 of us, so it's a good time down there. So just want to congratulate him for making that, getting that award. I know he's got a Philadelphia Hall of Fame coming up soon, so I think he's actually going to be there and writing about it. So we'll have to look for that online as well. So
That's awesome.
congrats, Jimbo.
Just supports Roach's count too. I mean, Jim is easily the number one. And I think
Nephew?
there's not even a 1B at this point.
Ah, come on.
He's definitely one. You're a far 2, and trust me. Hey, I mean, at least you're beating the third by a mile.
Oh, you guys are too much.
I don't think I could have come up with any. That might be the best dumb shit to end on all year, man. It's an inside joke that most people weren't going to get, but that's hilarious. Let's get out of here, and we'll be back next week to start looking forward to the AFC and NFC conference championships. We're almost there, guys. Like 2 more episodes, we'll be at the Super Bowl. Year's just spelled over.
Yes.
Can't believe it, but it's been a great run. We'll be back soon.
Go Birds.
Y'all.
See you next week.
Chris.